Hi guys, welcome back to Office Bloke React. I'm Office Bloke Max.
I'm Office Bloke Mike.
Just the two of us today, Mike.
Indeed we are.
Daz is still away.
They'll be back on it next week.
Yes, absolutely.
Full complement back next week. So yeah, hopefully have a good time.
Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I do a bit of recording, so Wednesday, Thursday before they're out again. So
exactly.
Yeah,
he's living it up in the States right now.
I bet he is.
I'm very
just
jealous.
had a bit of a big day over there, haven't we, with the election and that.
Absolutely.
So we went a really, really good time, really.
Yeah, true. We covered it ourselves on a video on the channel. If you haven't seen it,
we did. Yeah.
But yeah,
check it out.
Following on from sort of the election talk,
Yeah.
there's a lot of talk about like the amendments because it's a very important part of American history. I actually don't know the amendments.
Yeah, you mentioned this before. I thought, well, I don't think I know them either.
Yeah, there's so many of them.
Just hear about it all the time, don't you? You know, Fifth Amendment and
the Fifth.
You know, this, that, and the other. But yeah, I've never actually looked into all the amendments and what they mean, how they came about. So
I think it's interesting to look into, and I'm sure everyone at home in America will be like, "How do you not know these?"
Yeah.
But we don't have these sort of.
Yeah, I'm
rules.
guessing maybe at school over there in the US that it's sort of taught
Memorised.
in school.
Yeah,
I would guess.
Surprised.
Yeah, I wonder if everyone does know in the States. It'd be interesting for you guys to let us know if everyone does know all of the amendments off by heart. You know, like,
I feel like
is it like an alphabet where they'd sort of know if someone said, "What's the 10th Amendment?" They'd say, "Yeah, that's," and they know it.
Do you know what? It's probably a good idea though. I think that's good to have. I mean, obviously we don't research laws unless you study law itself. But should we get into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Nice one.
First Amendment. It protects individuals' rights to express ideas, practice any religion or none, report news, gather in groups for peaceful purposes, and request government changes without fear of retaliation, ensuring a foundation for democracy and personal freedom. It basically guarantees freedom of speech, religion, press, assembly, and petition. Second Amendment. Protects the right to keep and bear arms, allowing individuals to own weapons for personal safety, defense, and recreational use. It supports the concept of self-defense and the collective security of a free state, reflecting historical importance placed on militias and individual rights. Third Amendment. Prevents the government from forcing citizens to house soldiers in their homes during peacetime without consent. This amendment addresses grievances from colonial times under British rule, emphasizing the importance of privacy and property rights in a free society. Fourth Amendment protects individuals from unreasonable searches and seizures, requiring law enforcement to obtain a warrant based on probable cause for such actions. It ensures privacy and security in personal property, reflecting a balance between individual rights and the needs of law enforcement. Fifth Amendment provides protections in legal processes, including protection against self-incrimination, guarantees due process of law, prohibits double punishment for the same charges, and ensures compensation for the taking of private property for public use. It safeguards personal liberties and property rights in court. Sixth Amendment.
I think we used to have something similar when it came to double punishment for the same crime.
Yeah, I
think ours has changed our law where I think you can be, if you found not guilty of something.
Yeah.
I think now.
But it covers it all.
I think not guilty. But I think you can be tried for the same crime again if new evidence comes to light.
Oh, really?
Whereas
okay.
I'm sure. I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm sure in the past, if you were found not guilty of something, then that was it. But I'm sure now with the advent of like DNA and things like that,
you can reopen.
I'm
cases.
sure they've reopened cases, unless that's just like in a civil case.
Maybe,
you can do it through the civil courts rather than like the law courts. I'm not sure, but
maybe it's like again the blanket not guilty will be in civil courts, and then because higher up, like maybe
in fact, didn't something like that happen to OJ? He was found not guilty, wasn't he? But then was he?
I think
was it a civil court that he was?
Well, he's done a lot. To be fair, he's kind of a bad guy. I feel like with the OJ thing, I suppose he was like 3 years off DNA being fully.
Available. Probably. Yeah.
And then there was enough evidence with DNA. If that technology was available to put him away then.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just like a massive, whatever your thoughts on it. Seems quite lucky.
Yeah,
He's done well.
Allegedly.
If the glove fits. Right.
Ensures the right to a fair and speedy trial, the right to know the charges, confront accusers, obtain witnesses in defense, and have legal representation. This amendment is fundamental to the justice system, guaranteeing a fair legal process for criminal defendants. Seventh Amendment. Guarantees the right to a jury trial in civil cases involving disputes over property or money, preserving the role of juries in the legal system. It reflects the historical importance of jury trials in protecting individual rights against arbitrary government action. Eighth Amendment. prohibits excessive bail and fines, and cruel and unusual punishment, ensuring that penalties are fair and proportional to the offense. This amendment reflects society's values on humane treatment and justice, preventing the government from imposing overly harsh penalties. Ninth Amendment states that the enumeration of specific rights in the Constitution does not mean that people do not have other rights that are not listed. This amendment protects unenumerated rights, acknowledging that individuals hold more freedoms than those explicitly mentioned. 10th Amendment clarifies that powers not delegated to the federal government by the Constitution, nor prohibited to the states, are reserved to the states or the people. It emphasizes the principle of federalism by limiting federal power and protecting state sovereignty and individual liberties. 11th Amendment limits the ability of individuals to sue states in federal court, protecting states' sovereignty by requiring consent for such lawsuits. It addresses concerns over state immunity and the balance of power between state and federal governments. 12th Amendment modifies the procedure for electing the president and vice president, ensuring they are elected on separate ballots. This change was made to prevent confusion, promoting a clearer and more effective presidential election process. 13th Amendment abolishes slavery and involuntary servitude, except as punishment for a crime, marking a pivotal change in American society by formally ending the legal institution of slavery and reflecting the nation's commitment to individual freedom and human rights. 14th Amendment grants citizenship to all persons born or naturalized in the U.S., guarantees equal protection under the law, and extends civil liberties. It played a crucial role in civil rights by defining citizenship and ensuring legal protections for all individuals, including former slaves. 15th Amendment prohibits denying the right to vote based on race, color, or previous condition of servitude, advancing civil rights by ensuring that all men, regardless of race, have the right to vote, though actual implementation faced significant challenges. Voting rights will be a key issue as we head into an election year. In November, a federal appeals court decision paved the way for a Supreme Court battle over the Voting Rights Act. Whether you saw this story may depend on which way you lean politically, because it is mostly being covered by left and center rates news sources. I know this thanks to Ground News, the sponsor of today's video. Ground News was founded by former NASA engineer Harleen Kaur. Video. 16th Amendment authorizes the federal government to collect income taxes without apportioning it among the states based on population, enabling a key source of revenue for the government and supporting the funding of public services and infrastructure. 17th Amendment establishes the direct election of U.S. senators by the voters of the states, enhancing democratic governance by making senators more accountable to the electorate, reflecting a move towards greater democracy and public participation in government. 18th Amendment initiates prohibition, making the manufacture, sale, and transportation of alcohol illegal, aiming to improve social conditions but ultimately leading to unintended consequences and the rise of illegal alcohol trade, demonstrating the complexities of legislating morality. 19th Amendment extends the right to vote to women, marking a significant milestone in the fight for gender equality by recognizing women's suffrage as a fundamental democratic right, reflecting the culmination of a long struggle for women's rights. 20th Amendment changes the dates for the start of presidential, vice presidential, and congressional terms and addresses presidential succession, aiming to reduce the period where there's an elected official whose successor has already been elected or will be soon, and ensures a smoother transition of power. 21st Amendment.
I always found it a bit odd because the election's just taken place, but then the incumbent president, I mean, they stay in charge until, is it January this something, isn't it?
Yeah, he's got a few months left, hasn't he?
Yeah, it seems to be like quite a while before the transition takes place. I always found that slightly odd. I'm sure there's a good reason for it. But
do they start the transition process now? Is that?
I think they probably do. Yeah. I know. The new president, I think he's been getting people together, picking his cabinet and people to work for him. I think he's doing that at the moment, isn't he? So I'm sure it probably takes a while to get people in place. Obviously, I think it's like the UK where a lot of it's run by civil servants, I'm guessing. Not just all for one. They just do it, run it for everybody, don't they?
Well, it makes sense to have like a buffer period to like let everything sort of take its place.
Yeah. No, I get that. But it just seems a bit...
the fact that it's still, like, Biden's still in now.
Just seems like a 2.5 month period. I thought like maybe really a couple of weeks or something. I think in the UK it's fairly quick, isn't it? It's fairly
swift. Go straight away.
Yeah. I think the next day, I think the guys kicks out at 10 Downing Street and the moving trucks are straight down the road, aren't they, the day after? So
revokes the 18th Amendment, ending prohibition and allowing states to regulate alcohol, acknowledging the failure of prohibition and the need for a more practical approach to alcohol.
I was going to mention that before the 18th Amendment. I thought maybe it was an old one. It had been forgotten about, but clearly this was a newer amendment, which is going to be one of the questions. Can they still make new amendments to the amendments? But clearly this one was put in after the 18th, wasn't it, to sort of reverse that decision, I think.
It's a shame they don't put when the years were, because I know a lot of these were put on initially. I think there was like 14, maybe.
Yeah, straight from the off.
Maybe, yeah. But this is like 1800s, like when this first
exactly,
sat on the dotted line.
So
maybe even earlier.
So yeah, someone will probably answer this.
Yeah,
so definitely. They can still add amendments, but I'm wondering who decides that.
Yeah, it must be a massive
what the process. Wonder what process they have to go through, because it's got to be a huge thing, hasn't it, to get a new amendment? Surely.
Well, these are like ground rules for the USA. So you'd assume it'd be a massive process for it.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised how many of these are like sort of blanket statements. So it's just you can vote, and that's one of them.
Yeah.
Everyone can vote. Oh, no, women can vote. That's 3 of them.
Yeah.
The biggest one was the sovereignty of states, because I keep forgetting. I only learnt this like Wednesday, that the US is a group of states all together. That's the United States.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But I never actually took that into account. I think a lot of people here wouldn't know that.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I think they do govern themselves quite a lot, don't they? I think I think it's sort of like they sort of run themselves quite a lot more than maybe.
Like they have tri-states and things like that all together.
That's right. Yeah, I think they have a lot more say in the taxes that that they take and things like that. Whereas over here, we do have council tax, like local councils, but
most of it shifts that much, does it?
No, but I think most of the money from our councils, like their states, I think that comes from the centralised government, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So a bit different.
All regulation and consumption. 22nd Amendment limits the presidency to 2 terms, responding to Franklin D. Roosevelt's 4-term presidency by establishing a formal restriction to prevent indefinite re-election and ensure periodic leadership renewal. 23rd Amendment grants residents of Washington, D.C. the right to vote in presidential elections, addressing the lack of representation for the district's residents and moving towards greater democratic participation. 24th Amendment prohibits poll taxes in federal elections, eliminating a barrier to voting for low-income individuals and advancing civil rights by ensuring that the right to vote cannot be conditioned on economic status. 25th Amendment clarifies presidential succession and procedures for addressing presidential disability, ensuring continuity and stability of the executive branch by providing clear guidelines for transferring power in cases of incapacity. 26th Amendment lowers the voting age from 21 to 18, recognizing the maturity and citizenship responsibilities of younger adults, particularly in light of military service, and expanding democratic participation. 27th Amendment delays congressional pay changes from taking effect until after the next election, ensuring that legislators cannot immediately benefit from their own decisions regarding salary adjustments, promoting accountability and fairness. Shout out to these guys who are the first patrons that support.
Yeah, nice.
Very interested.
It was very interesting, that, yeah.
Again, like I said, I'm surprised how just sort of blanket they are.
Yeah.
And it's kind of... They all make sense. Like, there's none besides was it the 18th? Or the 8th? The alcohol one that got changed.
That's the 18th, wasn't it? I think.
18th.
Yeah, got changed on the
sense.
21st, was it? What I didn't know was that I knew it was 2 terms maximum, but I didn't know it used to be as many as you want.
Yeah.
Was it Roosevelt had 4 terms?
Yeah.
I never even knew that. Never knew.
I wonder what would have happened if that wasn't in place. Like, would Obama have beat Trump in that and then carried on? Or
that's it. You never know, because sometimes it's not just the party; it's the person running it that people vote for, isn't it? We do over here as well. You know, a lot of the time people don't just go for the politics. It's actually who's running Labour or who's running Conservative at the time.
Yeah,
so it would be very interesting.
I think there was an election result which I think Reagan. I don't know who he was against. And I think it was like an 85% landslide. Like, just right the floor with it. Like, I think it's the most popular president ever.
When he first got in?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't remember. Yeah.
So I think...
It wasn't like Carter or something, was it? Or...
No, it was someone I'd never heard of. And I knew about Carter.
I can't remember who it was before Reagan now.
Yeah, and so imagine... Obviously, I don't know how the Reagan presidency went, but, like, would he have stayed in for longer?
Maybe. I think he was classed as being fairly popular. I know he was over here. I think Thatcher got on with him really well. Really big buddies, weren't they?
Yeah.
But I think Reagan was knocking on a bit as well, wasn't he?
Yeah,
absolutely. He was quite old as well. But
yeah, definitely.
But yeah,
really interesting video.
Very well explained. And, it's a really good video. I enjoyed it.
But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Let us know if we've missed anything in the comments below. Please give us a like and subscribe.
Yes, don't forget. Cheers.